blossom didn't ask to fall. It simply opened and then let it go. And when the rain arrived without a call, it found the petals ready for below. I watched them from the window of the tea house, where everything is still and soft and old, and something in the rain against the branches was saying something I was never told. When Sakura meets the rain, nothing needs explaining. When Sakura meets the rain, beauty is not remaining. It falls because it must, it falls because it's true. When Sakura meets the rain, I think of you. Does not mourn the leaving branch, and I have been so long inside my calling to hold the things that never had a chance. But watching how the petals find the water and float without resistance to the stream, I learned from every spring's most fleeting daughter to hold more lightly everything I dream. When Sakura meets the rain, nothing needs explaining. When Sakura meets the rain, beauty is not remaining. It falls because it must, it falls because it's true. When Sakura meets the rain, I think of you. When Sakura meets the rain, nothing needs explaining. When Sakura meets the rain, beauty is not remaining. It falls because it must, it falls because it's true. When Sakura meets the rain, I think of you. The stream, and when the branch stands bare against the grave, I'll hold the memory like a half-dream dream of something beautiful that couldn't stay. Sakura in the beautiful The paper screens hold the shape of the rain, and everything here has no reason to explain. The matcha is bitter and perfectly green. The tatami holds the weight of the scene, and I have been sitting so still for so long that the tea house itself has become my song. The tea house on the hill holds the rain and the still. The tea house on the hill has no clock on the wall, just the koto playing low and the soft afterglow of a world that decided to give you it all. The second bowl without a word. Between us, only what the rain has stirred. And this is what they mean by the space between the notes, the pause that holds the grace. The tea house on the hill holds the rain and the still. The tea house on the hill has no clock on the wall, just the koto playing low and the soft afterglow of a world that decided to give you it all. Something I can name or store, just the rain on tiles and the koto's breath and everything between the life and rest. The tea house on the hill, still, still, still. The stone lanterns burn gold in the rain tonight. Along the path that leads to nowhere right, the temple gate stands still in its long sleep, and Kyoto holds the promises I keep. My shoes are wet on cobblestone and moss, and somewhere in this midnight I am lost. But lost in Kyoto is the best kind of lost. thing that has no count of cost. Midnight in Kyoto, where the rain meets the stone. Midnight in Kyoto, you are never alone. The lanterns remember every soul that has passed. Midnight in Kyoto is where I feel most. The Keiko hurries past beneath her umbrella red. She nods like she has seen me in a dream instead. And I have been in love with this before. The feeling of belonging to a door that isn't yours but opens just the same. When rain and midnight call you by no name, just traveler, just wanderer, just one who finds the quiet after the day is done. Midnight in Kyoto, where the rain meets the stone. Midnight in Kyoto, you are never alone. The lanterns remember every soul that has passed. Midnight in Kyoto is where I feel most. Kyoto dries its stones around the bend. I'll still be standing at this temple gate, belonging to the midnight and the late. Midnight in Kyoto, the lanterns burn. The rain remembers everything. One drop on the window, the whole world in that sound. One bird in the bamboo, all of silence found. One cup of morning, steam rising to the gray. One breath before speaking the whole of the day. Haiku for a rainy morning, 3 lines, that's all it needs. Haiku for a rainy morning, a drop among the reeds. Old pond, frog jumps, sound of water, that is all. speaking, the thing I cannot tell, the pause between the raindrops, the space inside the song. The silence is the music, and it's where I most belong. Haiku for a rainy morning, 3 lines, that's all it needs. Haiku for a rainy morning, a drop among the reeds. Old pond, frog jumps, sound of water, that is all. Sakura petal falls on the still black water. Evening bell sounds. One drop, the whole world. They taught her how to pour the sake right, and how to move like water in the night, and how to wear the silence like a shawl, and how to be the most graceful in the hall. But somewhere in the record player's song, she found a trumpet that she'd missed so long. And when the jazz came sliding through the screen, she let it in, the space between. The Geisha's jazz plays low and slow, where the Shamisen and the trumpet go, 2 worlds inside, one graceful soul. The Geisha's jazz makes everything whole, east and west, silk and sound. The Geisha's jazz is the best thing I've found. She learned to let the shamisen swing, to make the ancient instruments sing, in ways her teachers never showed her how. But jazz arrived and showed her anew, and in the tea house after midnight's end, she played for no one, just the rain, her friend. And everything that was divided there became one perfect sound inside the air. The Geisha's jazz plays low and slow, where the shamisen and the trumpet go, 2 worlds inside, one graceful soul. The Geisha's jazz makes everything whole, east and west, silk and sound. The Geisha's jazz is the best thing I've found. was the shamisen swinging in rain on the tile, and the geisha who found jazz and stayed for a while. The geisha's jazz, east and west, together, beautiful. The river holds the mist inside its arms before the sun has come to claim the day, and everything is still and cool and calm. The heron stands in its particular way. I came here before the world remembered it existed, before the city pulled itself to feet, and stood beside this river that has persisted through every human winter incomplete. River mist at dawn, the world not yet begun. River mist at dawn, before comes the sun. Everything is possible, everything is new. River mist at dawn is all I need to know is true. Rises slow like something waking from a dream it doesn't want to leave, and I am watching without any taking, just breathing what the river chose to give. The Shakuhachi somewhere in the reeds plays the sound a mist would make if sound, and everything I've ever thought I'd need is here in this, and I am finally found. River mist at dawn, the world not yet begun. River mist at dawn, before comes the sun. Everything is possible, everything is new. Dawn is all I need to know is true. With me through all the noise, the river at its dawn, the mist its voice. River mist at dawn, everything possible, everything true. every year without fail, the family spread beneath the cherry trees. And nobody speaks because the petals tell everything that anyone might need. The children try to catch them in their palms and laugh when petals fall beyond their reach. And grandmother sits still with folded arms, remembering what petals used to teach. Sakura falling slow, slower than goodbye. Sakura falling slow, teaching how to let things by. Every petal knows the branch was never home. Sakura falling slow into everything unknown. The young man photographs each fall and bloom as if the record keeping could offset the fact that beauty makes its own kind of room, by leaving and by teaching us to let. And I am sitting here among them all, belonging to this moment and this tree, and watching how the petals choose to fall with such complete and perfect dignity. Sakura falling slow, slower than goodbye. Sakura falling slow, teaching how to let things by. Every petal knows the branch was never home. Sakura falling slow into everything unknown. And when the last petal finds my open hand, and when I close my fingers gently on the nothing that is everything and grand, I understand what all the falling means to I. Sakura falling slow, teaching, letting go. Down a side street in Shimokitazawa, past the record shops and the vintage stores, there is a staircase leading to below, a door that only knowing finds. end of old vinyl, the trumpet playing something from before. And every person here arrived alone, but no one here feels alone anymore. The Jazz Cafe in Shimokitazawa, where the records know your name. The Jazz Cafe in Shimokitazawa, everything sounds the same, like coming home to somewhere you have never been before. The Jazz Cafe in Shimokitazawa is the reason for the door. The master pours without a question, asked. He's heard the trumpet more than he can count, but every night he listens like the last, like music is a well without a drought. And on the walls are faces we all know, Miles and Coltrane and the ones before. And Tokyo rain outside makes everything glow a little more than it did before. The Jazz Cafe in Shimokitazawa, where the records know your name. The Jazz Cafe in Shimokitazawa, everything sounds the same, like coming home to somewhere you have never been before. The Jazz Cafe in Shimokitazawa is the reason for the door. The trumpet plays the final set, and then the master bows and turns the sign. I'll take the staircase up to the street and yet leave half of me below inside that vine. Shimokitazawa, the Jazz Cafe. Come back, come back. She folded it with such particular care, the paper wide and corners sharp and true, and placed it on the windowsill out there, not knowing what the afternoon would do. The rain came gentle first and then less so, and I watched from inside as the crane became a softer version of the whole. The ink ran blue across the folded plane. Paper crane in the rain, getting soft at the edges. Paper crane in the rain, losing all of its pledges. But even as as it changes, it is still somehow the crane, paper crane in the rain, is beautiful in the chain. They say that wabi-sabi is the way of finding what is beautiful and where the crack inside the teacup has its say. The moss upon the stone has its own care. And this crane that was perfect in the fold is now more true than it has ever been. The rain has made it honest, made it old, the most itself that it has ever seen. Getting soft at the edges, paper crane in the rain, losing all of its pledges. But even as it changes, it is still somehow the crane, paper crane in the rain, is beautiful in the chain. Its wings against the weight of what has come, I'll pick it up, this beautiful and old, and love it more for what the rain has done. Paper crane are still there, but something knows that underneath the gray a pink is planned. And every morning that I walk this road, I check to see if winter's kept its hand. They say it comes when it's ready to come, that no amount of wanting moves the bloom. And I have been the most impatient one, standing at the bare branch in the gloom, waiting for the cherry blossoms, learning how to wait cherry blossoms. Nothing comes too late. The branches hold their promise in the patient wood. Waiting for the cherry blossoms is its own kind of good. And then one morning, just a hint of pink, so small I thought that I had made it up. But there it was, the thing before the blink, the first bud opening its small cup. And I stood there in the cold and cried, not because it hurt, but because it came. Because the waiting was the other side of this, and both were somehow just the same. Waiting for the cherry blossoms, learning how to wait. Waiting for the cherry blossoms, nothing comes too late. The branches hold their promise in the patient wood. Waiting for the cherry blossoms is its own kind of good. Every bare branch holds a bloom that hasn't chosen yet to show. And everything I'm waiting for in cold is already there, just waiting to be low. Waiting, the first pink, it comes, it always comes. The Torii stands in red against the gray. It's vermilion deeper for the rain. And I have walked this gravel path today, as others walked it and will walk again. The cedar trees are older than my name. The lanterns wear their moss without complaint. And everything about this gate is the same as it was before memory, before complaint. Rain on the Torii gate, washing it more red. Rain on the Torii gate, for the living and the dead. The sacred and the ordinary stand here side by side. Rain on the Torii gate is where the world goes wide. I bow before I pass beneath the because the rule, but because it's right to mark the passing from the world I came into this older, deeper kind of light. The shrine bell in the distance marks the hour, or marks no hour, just marks the fact of sound. And in the rain beneath the cedar's bower, I feel whatever lost means to be found. Rain on the Torii gate, washing it more red. Rain on the Torii gate for the living and the dead. The sacred and the ordinary stand here side by side. Rain on the Torii gate is where the world goes wide. Something old and true. The rain, the gate, the feeling I once came. Rain on the Torii, red in the gray, sacred always. The last petal fell this morning on the path, and Sakura is over for another year. I should have counted better the arithmetic of something I knew was ending being here. You bloomed for 7 days, perhaps a few more, and in that time you made the whole world stop. And strangers spoke to strangers in your door, and nobody complained about the drop. How do you say goodbye to something that was only passing through? How do you say goodbye when beautiful was always meant to be untrue? Sayonara, my Sakura, thank you for the days. Sayonara, my Sakura, for your pink and brief amaze. I'll wait for you again through all the winter long. Sayonara, my Sakura, you were always a song. They're raking up your petals from the stones, and children pressed the last ones into books. And what was here so fully is now gone, except inside the memory and the looks we gave each other underneath your boughs, when everything everything was pink and brief and true. And all the things we almost said somehow were said without a word because of you. How do you say goodbye to something that was only passing through? How do you say goodbye when beautiful was always meant to be untrue? Sayonara, my Sakura, thank you for the days. Sayonara, my Sakura, for your pink and brief amaze. I'll wait for you again through all the winter long. Sayonara, my Sakura, you were always a song. And maybe that is what this whole album was, a Sakura season made of notes and rain. Something beautiful that briefly was, and asks you not to mourn but to remain open, waiting, patient for the pink. The winter is the other side of bloom, and everything we feel when petals sink is love, just love, finding room. And so I leave the bare branch in the gray with something that is almost like a smile, because I know that it